Christina, your husband. It's
Oh,
all...
no, he knows all.
You're a lucky dog.
It's true.
Oh, Christine, this is a lovely house.
It's Christineth. Are you stupid or are you deaf?
Christina! You idiot! You come to our house, you get my wife's name right!
What?
Christina!
I own the Oscars! Now this is the story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside. Welcome to American Forked, a podcast by... Nope.
By what?
Welcome to American Forked. We are a podcast that is fixing America.
And eat on microphone. Go for it, Trent.
While eating a muffin in real time.
These are good muffins.
I actually can't. I actually can't look at Trent anymore without thinking about him holding a plant on his head to look like a carrot.
Oh, yeah.
When he was telling a story.
What just happened?
Are we going to start over again?
You look like an actual carrot with your shirt, though. Like,
I know.
How did I get drunk into this?
One time we were at JCW's.
Okay,
we were talking...
wait.
Okay.
So the listener's confused because Phil screwed up with some recording. So this episode is actually not recorded in chronological order.
We're going to make it seem like
So
it is.
in the future on this episode, Jeff told a joke about when we were in JCW's when we were younger. You pulled one of the plants out of like a thing and held it on your head and was like, "Look, I'm a carrot."
Someone else might have put it on your head, but I do distinctly remember you looking like a carrot.
Why didn't we just Quentin Tarantino this? Tell that joke to start, not explain it, and have them in like 30 minutes like, what the
Oh,
fuck?
yeah. That's what we'll do.
Leave
Just
this whole
forget,
thing in.
just
Yeah.
forget what
Yeah.
just
Forget,
happened.
yeah, we'll edit all that out.
Yeah,
How
that'll all
can we
be out.
record the future in the past?
All right.
I think time machines have come up in our conversation, too. Anyways.
So anyway, that's why Jake's not here. He had to leave. But
He should have a better marriage. Why is he leaving?
yeah, that's probably why.
You should have a better son that has baseball practice.
Yeah, why does it? What is Jake on the team?
He probably is.
That son should ride his bike.
Yeah. Get a bike, Logan.
What did you write?
Here?
Did your parents ever take you anywhere?
Nope.
See, look how good you turned out.
Yeah. That's true. These kids are getting too soft. Get a bike, kids.
Now it's skateboards for my kids.
It could be as cardio.
Yeah. Can we do a show now?
Anyway, true to tradition, we like to start with some American Fork news because we're from American Fork, Utah. And American Fork is installing meters for their pressurized irrigation.
They should.
Really?
Yeah, so...
Holy cow! This is amazing.
I actually, since this is my first time hearing this, I really think that they should.
Yeah, well, it makes perfect sense when you think about it. But the before, it was like, oh, yeah, this kind of saves our water because now we don't have to filter so much so we can give people this cheaper water that they water their lawn. We're not putting chlorine and stuff in
Are
the
they
grass.
still using, they're not putting chlorine in your drinking water, are they?
Not chlorine. Yeah, chlorine.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course.
Why chlorine?
All water in America is chlorinated.
Chlorinated?
Yeah.
Yes. To kill bacteria.
Really?
Yeah.
Why am I just hearing this now?
I don't know.
This
Don't-
just in.
Don't they? I didn't know they had chlorine in it.
Yeah.
They sound healthy
in
at
fact,
all.
where I hike up by my house, up Rock Canyon in Provo, there's a little chlorination shack there.
Yeah.
It says, "Danger, do not enter." This is a...
I thought they would like dechlorinate.
Brought to you by Clorox.
No, they...
Listen, let me tell you how they filter your water, okay? One shack, they throw in a tablet. It's the chlorine station. Next shack, Tide Pod.
That way you
shack,
don't have to take yours at home.
next shack, they put it through a cheesecloth. So it filters out any bones or dead animals, right?
Like blue cheese?
Then it gets to your house, you drink it, and that's it. And we're better off than 90% of the world.
And this is how we cure cancer.
Cure? Is that the word?
Isn't the secondary water like all the filtered sewer water?
Yeah, they pretty much filter the sewer water, but in such a way that it's not like chlorinated. I don't think it goes through reverse osmosis, so it's dirty water, quote unquote.
It's not drinkable. It's not potable.
Yeah, but I don't think it smells like a sewer. But
No.
but anyway, they're metering it now because apparently, not apparently, the state has made it state law. So everyone has to be metered everywhere because they're running out of water all the time.
The reservoirs are drying up, and apparently water is vital to human survival and all that stuff. So
and plants and animals.
One of the things is that anyone that has gray water, there's certain municipalities that do. Apparently American Fork, Draper City, up in Davis County, there's a lot of gray water that people can basically use as much as they want. Like it's not regulated. So the whole concept is if we start regulating it or start monitoring it, then people will at least start being aware of how much water they're using. I don't think it's going to stop there. Obviously, they'll start, now that they're monitoring it, they can start charging for it.
If they're putting
more.
a meter on it, you're not putting the money. Like, that's what I do all day for work is the same crap.
Right.
So if you're going to go and tell someone what they're using, you're going to charge them for it. You're not putting the money into it.
We're clearly going down the road to charge people for that. But frankly, we live in a desert, and I think probably should. I mean, we should take – I definitely do not enjoy the fact that, the Great Salt Lake is the lowest it's ever been, and I don't like that the reservoirs are like 50%. I think it sucks,
But is that a Utah problem or is that a down the river problem? Is that like –
I don't think we're feeling the effects of it quite as much.
No, I think that – Aren't we giving too much water to like California, Nevada, Arizona? Like they can get their own fucking
100% they are. Yeah.
Yeah. They live right by the ocean. Come on.
But at the same time,
how's it our problem?
But at the same time, don't we make money off the water that gets down there?
I mean, do we make money? Maybe, I don't know, but is it enough to really count?
No.
Probably not.
But here's the thing, the water that ends up in the Great Salt Lake none of that goes anywhere but in Utah, because the reason the Great Salt Lake is a salty lake is because it's a dead end. It's the only place where water flows in the United States and stops inland.
I thought it was missionary spunk. They just left it all from the MTC in the lake.
Missionary funk? Are you talking about the smell?
No.
Oh.
Their sperm.
Don't laugh, Phil.
They just beat up into a bucket and they put it in the Great Salt Lake.
It's not funny.
I had a straight face.
I think the short answer to your question, your well thought out question, was no.
Well, that one's on me then.
Okay, gray water being monitored like it's a parking stall.
Hooray. Orem police say a 20-year-old Sandra Robles was strangled to death by her boyfriend over the weekend after the couple got in a fight over a broken vape cartridge.
Vape cartridge. Okay.
Yeah, so these
no drugs involved.
Yeah, that's what they said. Well, they didn't say, but goes without saying that if you're going to strangle your girlfriend to death over a broken vape thing, it's probably because you were looking forward to that something special inside your vape cartridge.
Well, here's the question: what flavor was it?
Oh yeah, maybe if it was strawberry.
If it's a really good flavor.
Yeah.
You know, when you smack your kids, you don't smack them for the real reason.
Yeah.
You smack them for what they did, like over the last couple months. So let's find out what she has been doing.
Yeah.
And for what your boss did. And for what your wife yelled at you at.
It's her fault.
Or it's really like what you're mad about within yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's why I hit my kids.
All your insecurities.
Yeah.
No. If a woman gets hit, I want that out of the podcast. Sorry. Never mind. I realized this was going to just end badly to put that into the world,
However we start this, it'll end badly.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it sucks.
So you can't tell me that vape doesn't kill you. That's all I'm saying at this point.
Yeah.
Clinically proven now at this point, vapes can kill you.
It can. We've proven that now with this poor woman dying.
What was the rest of his criminal history? I can't imagine he went law-abiding citizen, choking murder.
You're going out saying that might not be the only thing on his rap sheet.
He was going out somewhere.
He was perfect. He picked up his first vape cigarette one day. The next day, strangled his girlfriend.
Yeah, right off his mission, right to just choking the bitch.
First puff. You're dead to me.
My gosh.
They do say your breathing will be impaired by cigarettes. So, they're not wrong.
There you go.
And his nickname was Cigarettes. What's the next story?
Are we recording this?
I think so.
Unfortunately.
The median, let's see here. Utah County is now it's more expensive to buy a home in Utah County than it is Salt Lake County.
What a waste of money.
The median sold price for a single-family home in Utah County was nearly $590, while in Salt Lake it was $580.
The median?
The median.
Can you imagine?
So the middle, right?
I know, but the very first house that you buy is crazy expensive now. Like, your new home buyers are screwed.
Oh yeah, it's nuts out
Got
there.
this starter home, $500,000.
Yeah.
Almost literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Because what they're selling for $200, you don't want that. It's like missing a wall. You got to pedal your water up.
There's
as
the
well.
meth abatement crew has to come in.
Those
Meth
don't
abatement. I thought you said it wrong.
Meth abatement.
There is a meth.
It's a meth abatement.
I don't even think those exist for 200. Like, I was looking at a place a while back. It was going. They wanted 280. It didn't even have a roof.
Yeah.
They had a fire or something like that.
Yeah,
Like-
you're buying the dirt and you got to like tear the thing down.
Yeah.
Yep, I went because I do construction and bids and stuff, and this lady called me. She's like, "Hey, I want to bid for redoing the exterior of this house. Come down and take a look." It's in South Salt Lake, and I go look, and I'm not joking you. There's a hole in the siding. It was wood siding, and I poked my head and looked in the hole to see what the construction looked like. I could not just see into the house. I could see through the entire house because the whole house was gutted on the inside, and I could see through another hole on the other side of the siding.Basically, if I found that there were raccoons living in there, I would turn it into PETA because it was not a good living condition for the raccoons. So, and I asked the lady, she's a flipper. She'd buy houses and flip them, and she bought it for $280.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a dump.
And probably thought she got a deal on it.
No, she did get a deal. And
She's
the
gonna
craziest part was she probably flipped that place and made money off of it.
Right, she probably put 50 or 60 into it and sold it for the median, $580.
Or just put it back up on the market.
Yeah, or rent it out to the raccoons.
Yeah.
Did you see, do you guys know homie.com?
Yeah.
Did you see their advertisement? Homie.com is out of like Draper or whatever.
Oh, really?
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they're a local company. Their
didn't know
thing
that.
was, I'll have to find the exact thing, but it was like Utah sucks, don't move here.
Please, let's
and
start
they're-
that campaign.
And they're charging 3% more if the buyer comes from out of the state.
Yes, please.
Nice. I
That's
like
actually
Homie
cool.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should start a campaign, like 10 reasons not to move to Utah.
Well, I think like going
Please
back to the
don't.
water thing that we talked about 2 hours ago twice, you should charge more for utilities and taxes and stuff. If you move to Utah, it's just going to charge you 3% more
I
on
like
everything.
it.
it's like a citizenship thing. Like when you live here for 5 years,
Yeah,
we'll start getting you some local rates.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There's a word in Hawaiian called like kaimana or something like that, but it means like I'm a local and you get a local discount.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Or let's just throw eggs at all their houses.
That would be
that
so
would
many
be
eggs.
a lot of houses.
Yeah.
That's
You
the
need to go
problem.
get more chickens.
Yeah, we could raise the chickens and the eggs. We just know from experience that you can't buy all the eggs at the same grocery store on the same night.
Or just don't have a fro when you do it.
Yeah.
It's very identifiable.
A
red fro.
Red afro.
We used to buy 10 dozen eggs every night for about 2 years.
Yeah, and they were just like, man,
We
these guys like
single-handedly
it.
caused the chicken crisis.
I can't believe that we ate that much.
We were shredded. We were like Gaston.
Yeah.
In the morning, I ate 50 dozen eggs.
I will go on record that Gaston's my favorite princess.
Princess.
He's kind of a little bitch, isn't he?
He is
I
a
mean,
bit-
you're
I
not
do
wrong.
not like. Anyway, we're not getting into like Disney politics with Beauty and the Beast, are we?
I'm so happy that you are like finally in on a TV show.
Oh,
that
I've
you're
seen
trying
it
to engage
plenty
with.
of times. Is it animated?
Of course.
Yeah, then I've seen it.
Right.
I haven't seen the live action one. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Okay.
You know, I'm not into like. I want it to be a cartoon, so every character is perfectly exactly what they should be,
Right.
and not just like, Gaston should have been like more ripped and better looking.
Yeah. He should have been 6 inches taller.
Belle should have been like an unachievably hot person.
Right.
It should have been, what's his face? Thor, of
Right.
course. Except he probably can't sing.
Yeah, but dub it over. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have been Thor for Gaston. Come on.
Since we're bringing up Disney now, I'm going to take over the podcast, Phil. Step
Okay.
aside. Did you hear about Florida and Disney World? Like Florida versus Mickey Mouse, basically. I don't know how
Minnie
new
Mouse
this
or Mickey Mouse?
Mickey Mouse. I mean, it's Disney's going to bat with Florida
About the gay thing.
about don't say gay.
Yeah.
I don't think they are as much as
No,
people
they
are
are.
saying.
No,
It's
listen.
huge.
So basically, this is something I saw this morning. So that's why I didn't know if you guys have heard about it or. Anyways, Ron DeSantis.
DeSantis.
Yeah, I think. Anyway, it came out and basically said we have all these special permissions for Disney
Right.
in Florida. They were established in the 60s, and I think we're going to be reevaluating that
Yeah.
because we shouldn't be treating specific sections of the population. He was talking about transgenders and whatever. He's like, we shouldn't be treating specific sections of the population differently than the rest of the population, and I don't think we should be treating specific businesses different than other businesses in our state.
You're
And it's
100%
basically
right.
a massive threat of like, dude, we have bent over backwards in Florida for you.
Yeah.
Like, to go to bat to us, we're going to now reevaluate this. Anyways, I think it's going to turn out to be a lot bigger of a deal than what I thought it was going to be.
But why are we doing that? Like, same thing, bring it local. We have that huge data center in Lehigh, and Lehigh, like a fucking farmer dumbass like they are, they made an agreement that they can use unlimited amounts of water.
Yeah.
And now they're using like ridiculous amounts of water.
Because the computers are liquid cooled.
I understand why, but
I'm
I'm
just
saying
saying if the listener didn't understand.
they don't pay for that. They paid up front, and they have an unlimited amount forever that they can use.
See, my understanding on that anyway is because it's a federal facility, they can do whatever they want.
It's a
anyway.
military base.
Right. So they don't like it. Like if the when if the feds build a building, they don't have to get building permits from Provo or Salt Lake or whatever. They just do it. And so I would imagine if they want to drill a well and pump their own water,
They're
or
not
do
drilling a well.
whatever they're doing. They're getting it from where?
They're off of Lehigh City water.
Oh, Lehigh's giving them the water for free.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they paid a lump sum that equates to nothing,
Oh.
basically.
Because Lehigh didn't do the research to see, what does a real data center take for water?
Right.
They were probably like, there's a couple drinking fountains, and they got a laptop in the corner. It's fine. Like they probably thought data was a filing cabinet in the corner.
So I don't understand though. If the water's going in just to cool a computer,
But it's pulling off like shit. You can't even leach it back in the ground.
you can't use the water afterward.
No.
Oh.
It's not running through radiators like a heat sink.
It pulls, and then I'll have to look it up, and I'll come back on the podcast in 12 years and tell you what it is. But it pulls something weird because of how like it interacts with stuff that you can't. Too much, from what I understand, anyway, you can't go and then recycle like you do sewer water.
Maybe it's mixed with like some antifreeze or something. I don't know.
I don't know. But going back to the Florida, I don't think that they should treat any business different.
Yeah.
Why? Why
Well,
would
they
you?
have because they wanted the business there and creating the income, and it's definitely worked out well for Florida to have Disney there.
Yeah, but it's like when a state pays for a pro basketball, football, baseball team for that stadium to be built, and then they don't get any of the proceeds. Yeah, they get people traveling in to see the game and stuff like that, but what do we care if there's a fucking arena?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that all works, but I just thought it was interesting that DeSantis is pulling out that as a threat to like, hey, I think we should reevaluate this.
And the backdrop to this is this bill, this Don't Say Gay bill, to my understanding, is pretty much saying we want teachers to stop talking about homosexuality and gender identity for kindergarten through second grade.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
what you guys understand
Yeah.
it to be?
To me it seems ridiculous.
Like
sex ed doesn't start till 5th grade.
Yeah, I don't think you should talk about that sort of stuff. Like if someone's like, I don't know if I'm a guy or a girl, maybe have that one-on-one conversation.
ask your parents.
What are we teaching about sex at all at that age?
Exactly. Like
That's my point. Is I have a 5th grader. We had to sign a release form for her to do the maturation program,
Which is great.
Right?
It's a good thing to do.
but 5th grade. Okay, that makes sense.
Right
she's
before she starts a
10,
period
11,
and growing
right.
pubes and all sorts
Right.
of stuff.
But then this "don't say gay" thing, and I hate the name. That's the thing that pisses me off about politics lately too. Is they assign these names to them. Don't say gay. It's like we're not trying to remove that from our vocabulary, or like why are you titling it something that it basically doesn't have anything to do with. Yeah.
Who called it that though?
Well, it's the people that are trying to get it pushed through and make it so that, or the trying to stop it, whatever. It's the people that want the curriculum from K through second or third grade to be involved. They want those discussions to be had in the classroom. They're calling it the Don't Say Gay because if you call it the Don't Say Gay, that sounds like an instant attack against gay people. And like, you know what I mean? And that's not the case at all. It's just a case of, hey, I've got a tiny child who doesn't even apparently need to have the maturation program because we don't even have that in place yet. But we're going to start talking about different sexes and different, gay, lesbian, all this stuff. I'm just saying it's not necessary at that age.
Yeah, this is a case of somebody, and there's a word for it, but where you're talking about one thing and then they take one small percentage of it,
right?
Drag that out, and then they blow that up where it's like, okay, that's not really what we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's a small percentage of what's there, but...
It's called a straw man argument.
Oh, that's exactly what it is. Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, it's just exactly what he said. A straw man is where you're like, we're having an argument, but I'm not winning, so I'm going to create this straw man that you'll argue with, and that is that, because you said this, you're really saying this.
And it clearly isn't, and the whole point of it, it's not about saying gay.
Right.
But because it's saying, you don't want to say gay, now you have to go defend the fact that we're not saying gay, and you're not talking about the real fact. That's all of politics right now is strawman. 100% of it is, you say this, well, I can't argue with that because it's fucking rational and makes sense. So I'm going to talk about this little small thing that you can't defend.
Right.
Yeah, it's wild. But I said that because my understanding was that Disney wasn't saying anything. And then a bunch of their employees got pissed.
So they started coming out.
And now they're coming out. So it
I don't think that's the case, though. The president of, the Eisner guy, he's not there anymore. Whoever took over, that guy.
The CEO.
Yeah, he said something or did something. And I read about it, but I can't remember. But he did say something, and that's why Disney's like having to go out and defend this because he said, I'll look it up, but he said something to do with that.
Yeah.
So it's exactly what you're saying. So they posted, and I'm showing visuals on a podcast. That's the best. This is the post that they put out.
There's a rainbow Mickey Mouse cut out.
Right. And so, you can look it up yourself, but to all who come to this happy place, welcome. And then it talks about the Disney, basically Disney being, pro LGBTQ, which is fine. Go for it. But don't take a state to bat that's like giving you these handouts. That seems like a stupid move for them.
But why does the state if they just, I don't know the context, but if they just went out, they being Disney, put out a striped Mickey Mouse picture and say, we accept everybody, how is that attack on the state? And I understand it's an argument within the state.
That's what I'm not getting is what did Disney do that's like meriting any backlash?
Okay, I'll read it.
There's so much
So we
more
oppose any legislation that infringes on basic human rights and the stand in solidarity and support with our LGBTQIA plus cast, which I don't know what, there's been some recent numbers added on, I guess, letters. The crew, Imagineers, and fans who have been the voices. So they flat out are saying, we are against this.
Yeah, but
we as Disney are against this.
And that's what I thought, but I just don't think that's like, they're just saying we're against it. But are they putting like billions of dollars into like fundraising or whatever? I don't know.
Are you trying to ask if they're the Mormon church and they're putting in millions of dollars to be against gay people?
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, how could they be that bad of a person? I agree with you.
How could they be so awesome?
What? Did
That would be a cool celebrity
of
death
awesome?
match. Disney versus the Mormon Church.
Celebrity death match.
Don't you remember that
Well,
show?
they both have make-believe characters.
It's Mickey Mouse and the Angel Moroni.
Like the claymation stuff. That would be cool.
And, well, it'd be a whole team of lawyers and... Anyway.
There's so many other, like, really good reasons to hate somebody other than their race, gender, like that sort of stuff. There's so many good reasons to hate someone.
Like chewing, like eating out loud. Like if you're sitting at a table, close your mouth when you're eating.
Do you know someone like that?
Oh, yeah. because it's like one of the few pet peeves in my life.
Chewing with your mouth open?
Yeah, like-
it is mine too, bro.
Well, here's the thing. Really?
Bro?
Yeah.
Can we hug?
Are
we just become best friends?
Are we friends?
Did we just become best friends?
No, but I'm like constantly telling my kids to chew with their mouth closed, and
Yeah.
it like annoys my wife that I say that. Like,
Why? Does she chew with her mouth open?
I don't think so, but I guess she was just raised in an environment where they didn't say that. I don't know.
Here's
Is it
the thing.
impolite to tell someone to be polite?
I guess.
Oh.
So this is my favorite thing about this pet peeve. If someone does it on purpose, I know they're doing it on purpose. It doesn't bug me one bit.
Yeah.
So people will
I'm
be
with
like,
you on this, yes.
Yeah.
and I'm like, that doesn't bother me.
Even that bothers me though.
Oh, really?
Like when you did
The
it early in
smacking
the
sound?
podcast, like it
Oh,
bothers
yeah.
me even to
Yeah.
now. And I don't think we are as much friends.
So
as
we're not
we
as
just said.
okay. This is good. Things are back to normal.
Okay.
So, but like, if somebody's unknowingly sitting there eating cereal and chomping their face off, and they're like in their own universe, I'm like, this mother right here, like, please close your mouth. Close your mouth. But if someone pretends or they're like trying to push my buttons or whatever, doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
Have you ever been like a business meeting where you have a client that you can't say anything, but they're doing it, and you're trying to still be like, no, everything's fine, but you're
Yeah.
like
Trent's
locked
like
in?
staring intently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't correct people on their manners in a business
No,
setting.
I know, but you're just like, do I really need this business?
Or
Is this important?
I could just walk away right now.
like
You
my,
know, you're like reporting back to business partners. You're like, so they were great. They were wonderful. The budget's there. The contract looks good. It's just this guy was eating spaghetti like he was on.
I feel like I would make something up. I'd be like, he's got a swastika tattoo. Like we just can't
We can't be
do it.
doing that.
I mean, I don't know if he does, but he's got to based on how he was eating.
He's in Eastern Ukraine for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's that Nazi that Phil was talking about last time.
Well, enough of all this boring stuff.
Okay,
On to
thank
the
you.
only important
Finally.
story of anyone's life ever. Will Smith just slapped Chris Rock in the face on live television and
What?
smiled as he turned around and walked away.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I know you haven't heard about this or seen it 50 times already.
What?
But I'm telling you for the first time.
I love the
Why?
anti-Will Smith now where they're bringing up everything from his history.
Oh, really? Like what?
So they brought up he was on the Arsenio Hall show or
Oh my
something like
God.
that. And,
In
and
1983?
maybe it wasn't
I'm
even
just
then,
kidding.
but like
But yeah, go on.
he was on some talk show, and one of the dudes in the band was bald. Will Smith makes fun of him. Guess what? Guess what that dude has?
alopecia.
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 Oh,
Are you kidding
I
me?
am not kidding you.
No way.
Dead serious.
man.
Oh.
Another thing they brought up is he was on the red carpet and he slapped a guy.
Well, and another one is on the filming of Ali. One of the other main actors was like he was like combative with everyone. He was a total dick.
Oh, really?
He's got an assault from like 1983, and then he's got what else did he do? He's got another thing that he did where it's
You know
like,
how they caught
Jesus.
him with that assault, though? When they researched and were investigating, they found Fresh Prince. I'm sorry I did that.
Sorry, I gotta go, guys.
I'm sorry. I instantly regret that.
Delete the whole thing. You don't need the intro.
Are we
After
recording? I
Jeff's
hope
doing
we're not
this-
recording.
He got in one
Was this
little.
the second time you did this joke?
No. Yes. No.
He got.
Did you do it last time?
No, I didn't.
Why this time then?
I don't know. I'm trying to switch it up.
So yeah, he's the academy. I guess is getting. Oh, he just left the academy.
What does that mean though? I saw that. I don't understand what that means.
So I think people don't realize this, but when they go to get an Oscar, it's because they all pay money to this club to give awards to themselves. So Will Smith was a member
That
of
sounds
this.
like a conspiracy.
He's a member of this club. That's why he can get nominated. So he just said, "I'm out. I'm
We need to
I'm
start
keeping
that.
my Oscar." But
But here's what I think is going on. He was part of the Oscar committee, right? When was the last time you ever talked about the Oscars?
no, he's just a member. That's what I'm saying. All those people in the room, they're members
Oh,
of
I
the
see.
committee
Right.
or whatever.
So if you don't pay your dues, then you're not getting
Right.
an
It's like a
Oscar.
big union
That seems dumb.
that they give themselves awards.
But here's what I'm saying. I think the whole thing was staged. There's seriously a part of me that still thinks this because when was the last time anyone ever talked about the Oscars? And I'm not even just talking about through COVID and stuff. I'm talking like the last 10 years.
I think
like-
the Oscars are very happy that this happened.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it was staged, but I see what you're saying. I think that the Oscars love that this happened.
If you actually saw what I was saying, you would agree with me. So let me explain.
After the Fresh Prince joke, I just can't with you, you know?
Fresh Prince.
But
No, I thought that because he goes up and he slaps him and he turns around and like smiles. Like almost this smirk like you don't know the secret that we're in on, like that they'd already planned this all out.
right.
I don't think so. He's got like tears in his
Well,
eye. Like,
once he sat down and started screaming, you're like, oh no, that's definitely not what's happening. But
and the thing is, his wife's been
actor.
His wife
Yeah.
has been in. He is not an actor. He's not a comedian. He's not a rapper. He's somebody that people have tolerated to the point that now he's good at stuff.
He's a legend.
He is
No, wait,
from
I am legend.
Yeah.
That's right. Never mind.
A
I'm sorry.
self-described legend.
Right.
I think he has done a couple really good movies.
Like
Like the last time, like I don't know if you guys remember this, but like the first time that like a human had contact with an alien, he punched it first thing.
How many times have you watched
So-
that movie?
Probably 11.
Oh,
there's a lot of movies I like. His Rush Hour was great.
that's a different black guy. That's
The
not
Green Mile. Wasn't he the voice of Mulan, the dragon in Mulan? That was
I
great.
think it was him too.
Yeah.
You know, I was actually watching a thing the other day that was talking about how blacks are stereotyped in movies, and that they called it like the magical black person or something that's in a movie, and they specifically brought up Will Smith because he was in some movie. The Legend of Bagger Vance or something, where he's like kind of this old-timey like black person in suspenders who like kind of comes out of the woods and gives some little hint of wisdom, and the woman talking about it was like, I just can't believe he even did that part because he didn't realize how the male patriarchy blah blah blah. Anyway, it was interesting. Like,
I guess you had to be there.
I think that
I guess so.
there's for sure been roles where that's the case. Like there's a stereotype for whatever
Right.
you are. But there's same thing like how many Russian actors or
Right.
British actors only play
Right.
that villain, the bad guy.
Yeah. Or Germans, like
Yeah.
they're pretty much all Nazi parts.
There's definitely
So-
typecast. I don't necessarily. Anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But there is stereotypes and there's typical people. Like if you were, I mean, this sounds dumb, but if you're doing Quentin Tarantino's, what was that movie?
Django Unchained?
Inglourious Bastards. Mm-hmm. Like you wouldn't have, the Jew killer guy,
Yeah.
that character. You would have a certain guy play that character. You're not going to have a big 8-foot tall black dude play the character. Like, I'm sorry. And I know that sounds stupid to say, but like, you do have to look at typecasting in a certain way of like, you're going to portray a certain story. If you just threw, a woman or a man or this race or that race, an Indian guy as that thing or whatever, it's like, yeah, it's not very believable.
I mean, I agree with you. Have you seen the Broadway Hamilton?
No.
Oh, well, you would.
Is it animated?
It is.
Well, I have seen it.
If you watch it on enough mushrooms, everything's animated.
We've gone over this.
No, so it's obviously about Hamilton and like
Right.
all of the stuff back then. All of them are played by black people.
Right.
Like almost every role. It's freaking great.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't look at it like, nope, not Hamilton. That guy not white. It was great. It was awesome.
I don't know enough about that story to like put a 2 cents in on it.
It's the founding fathers, Alexander Hamilton. So like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, all these people are played by black actors.
And
That's
they're white.
actually cool.
It is cool.
It's like spoken word or rap. Like it's super freaking cool.
I know this is terrible. All I know about Hamilton the musical, it's a musical, right?
Correct.
Is that it's wildly popular and it's done very, very well.
It's on Disney Plus. You can watch it.
Is it
You
animated?
should. The music's awesome. The whole story's great. If you have the opportunity to see it, they were just here.
I
a couple
really
months ago.
will, because seriously, that does shatter my what I'm basically saying. Because you would never cast a story or a movie of the founding fathers and put black people in.
And
it.
that's why
But apparently
that's what I'm saying
you do.
that, because it didn't. I understood your statement, but it didn't even change a story where I was even affected by the fact that they weren't like, cool, it's a great story.
My
I
eyes
don't
are
care.
going to be opened.
Yeah.
Because once you watch something like that, if they play that part and they're a good actor,
Right.
it really doesn't matter.
That's true.
You know, now if they're, to fight your side, if they're in the KKK and they're a black guy, maybe that's not the role for you.
Yeah.
But, you know, how do you go through that process and play the role in what type of movie?
Right.
In a Quentin Tarantino movie,
Yeah, it
that
doesn't
would be
matter.
the movie
Yeah,
to
that's
put
a
a
good
black
point.
guy in that role.
That's a good point because what was Sam Jackson played like an old cowboy guy from whatever in
in Hateful Eight?
in the Hateful Eight, yeah.
Yeah. And
that didn't throw anything off, and the truth was at that time frame, there's ain't no way that would have been a thing.
And how many actors in, if you've seen Django Unchained,
Yeah.
dropped the N-word because that was the role when they, I would assume anyway, those white actors wouldn't say that as much as they did,
Right.
but they're playing that role.
Yeah,
They said Leonardo DiCaprio actually stopped a couple times. He's like, I'm sorry, it just doesn't feel right to say. And Jamie Foxx, I guess, was like, you need to do this. Like, people need to know how
it was.
how it was or whatever.
Well,
Like,
and that's the sad part is, and good too, but when you play a role, you have to say it with such a way that it would feel like it would then.
yeah,
That's part of being an actor.
right.
You know, like same thing. Go back to that chick who needed to get hit earlier in the show, choked. In a movie, you got to play that role.
Yeah.
That's what you signed up to do. It doesn't make it right. You play a Nazi guy, you don't have to halfway through the
You're
movie
not-
be like,
This doesn't
"Listen,
feel
I just
right."
wanted." No, you're playing the role to be in that spot. That's just how it is.
Right.
Yeah. They're kind of. I think there should be a happy medium too, because there are the horrible things that I think we should show, but I also think that there are like there were slaves, for example, who were like family members, quote unquote. And I'm not trying to say that was good, but like now, if anybody is portrayed that way in film, like it's torn down. Like, oh, how dare you
Right.
try and show that it was like downplay it or whatever. It's like, well, no, historically, like sometimes it was horrible, sometimes it was halfway horrible, I guess
Yeah.
is the best way to say that. Like, and it was all horrible, but
Well,
it
that's why
wasn't
You could take that back to Django Unchained again.
right.
Samuel L. Jackson plays that. I forget his
Oh,
name.
yeah,
I
is
think
that-
he plays the one that's like very high up in that dude's plantation,
Right.
and supports the whole thing.
And he pretty much is a slaver, was the idea. He's
yeah, and
like,
he was. Yeah, and so does Jamie Foxx. Like he portrays someone who's faking it,
right.
but like I think it would be very hard to make a movie where you're like making that one spot look good. I think
Yeah.
it same thing as like you're gonna make Hitler's assistant look great
Right.
Right.
But
because you were still going along with it and stuff.
but maybe she was. Maybe she was like giving to charity and stuff. I don't know.
I'm just gonna say you're stretching. I like where your head is, but you're wrong.
But one of the things, it is true, and you can look at it in genealogy of like, there's a lot of last names that slaves took on because they didn't know their last names, and it's a terrible situation. But when they became free, they were like, "Okay, what's your name?" And a lot of the people would just give the name of their slave.
There's not a lot of Johnsons and Jacksons
And whites
in Africa.
and well, no kidding. But what I'm saying is that there was enough connection to them and enough familial feelings that they would take on the name of the person that was basically their owner.
I hear you. I think it's totally wrong though, because you've now, what I hear is you've removed so much of their lineage
Right.
that now they only are like, I don't know, I guess it's Jackson. Like, I don't have anything before me that's actually me.
Right.
So what you're saying is, yes, I hear what you're saying,
Yeah.
but that makes it even worse.
I mean,
We've stripped so
That's
much
true.
out of them.
But this is 1,000% assumption because I have no idea because I was not there. But I would say if there was no, like, if you hated the person that you lived with and worked like as a slave for, and obviously there were tons of crooked, messed up people that did this, but wouldn't that be the line? Why would you take on their name?
Did they take on their name?
At times they did.
Or
yes.
how many of them were, take like how many slave owners slept with their slaves and now they had a
That's
kid,
true.
and so
Yeah.
their last name is Jackson or Johnson or pick the name. I don't even know a name. Now their last name is that
Right.
because of what happened. You know.
So Will Smith, who is black, walked up on stage and smacked Chris Rock, who is black, and inevitably we just make it all about race. Is that where we
Yeah.
got with this?
How did we get on race?
I don't know.
I think that I was talking about Will Smith being in Rush Hour.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Wow, we took like a weird exit that went from.
No, but I would mention, like, if we're going to talk about race, Will Smith is kind of the first. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was like the first black mega movie star.
No.
Who was before him?
Denzel's way bigger than him. Who's that guy that just died?
Denzel Washington?
Is a million times bigger than Will has ever been.
I don't know. Independence Day was like the biggest.
I
of
feel
the
like
big.
you're
watch
in the
it-
wrong genre.
Just because you watch it every year doesn't mean it's a big movie.
That's what I'm saying. Like mega movie star. Like
Who's that
most,
Clarence guy who changed? Like he just died. We talked about him a couple months ago.
Yeah, Jackie Robinson.
No, a movie star. He's saying there are so many bigger African American actors than Will Smith. I still hate that you're even calling Will Smith an actor.
The guy that plays God.
Oh, yeah.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman?
Yeah.
He's
Is he-
incredible.
But he's not like a Bruce Willis style like blockbuster movie guy. He's in like normal movies, I guess you'd say.
what?
He's not like a blockbuster like.
How many blockbusters has Will Smith been in?
Yeah,
I would say several.
Independence Day.
Independence
What else?
Day.
Nothing else.
His picture was featured in Independence Day 2.
His picture. Oh. What is your obsession with Will Smith? He's terrible.
I wouldn't.
Go ahead.
Gather yourself.
I would say he's been good in some things.
He's been fine.
He's been fine. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, he's been fine.
So
Okay.
yeah, let's celebrate the guy who's been fine.
I'm just saying he was like the biggest. Growing up, he was like the biggest movie star.
I feel like you didn't go to movies.
I guess not.
Do you think that Will Smith or Chris Rock has affected the industry more?
Which is the industry?
Entertainment industry. Because you got a comedian, you got an actor.
I think they each would do it differently.
No,
If you said whose career would
quit
you
being
rather
all
have?
political about it. Which one has created the biggest ripples in the pond?
I would
between
rather
the two of
have
them?
Chris Rock's career than Will Smith.
All right. So just like Will Smith beat, what's his face? We've beat this
That's
topic
true.
to death.
It's dead. There
And
it
just
is.
like this topic has died, so has Taylor Hawkins at the age of 50, who is the drummer for Foo Fighters. You already forgot, even though we just did this
No,
episode.
I'm acting. I'm acting.
I love Taylor Hawkins. Like
Yeah?
I listened to him. He was on Howard Stern a ton. I've seen the Foo a bunch of times. He crushed it.
Yeah.
Listening to the people that have like interacted with him sound like he was a great guy.
Yeah.
He's leaving 3 kids behind.
3 kids. They found it. So he was in Colombia, Bogota.
Oh, here we go. Drug related.
Yeah, unfortunately.
10
So,
different substances
Yeah,
in his
or
body.
11, I thought.
Oh.
Yeah.
Carcinogens. THC.
Yeah, they had all kinds of stuff there.
Phil was talking about this story earlier, and he said, "Yeah, they found all kinds of stuff in him. THC." I'm like, "What else? Like, you're not gonna die from THC."
Yeah, you'll be super sleepy. I can't wait to get Phil stoned one day. It's going to be such an experience.
It's already
Will
happening.
you do it
so-
on the podcast?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to drug you anyway. You
I'm
might as well
already
just
stoned
consent.
like with life. Like it can't get any worse.
I just want to see it.
But so yeah, he wasn't the drummer on The Color and the Shape, which like Everlong and
Yeah, but
Hero and all
that's
those.
because he did all. Like, Dave Grohl did everything on that.
Dave Grohl did everything, and then asked Taylor. He's like, who at the time was the touring drummer for Alanis Morissette, and he was like, "Hey, I need a drummer. Do you know anyone?" And he's like, "Me." And he's like, "Oh, I thought you had a gig." And he's like, "Well, I want this one." So that began a lifetime of rocking and rolling.
If you've ever watched like anything with the Foo, it's always Dave and Taylor.
Yeah.
They're like best buds. It's a bromance for sure.
Dave
Yeah.
Grohl? Dave, what's happening?
Dave Grohl. That's right.
Dave Grohl is in the lead singer of the Foo Fighters. Taylor Hawkins is the drummer in the Foo Fighters.
Who's the guy that was in Nirvana?
Dave Grohl.
Really?
He's the drummer.
He was the drummer in Nirvana. Yeah.
Are you
And then-
thinking of Corbin?
I don't know who I'm thinking of. I thought it was a different band
I
for
can't
some
even
reason.
think of that guy's name now. Who was the lead
Kurt
singer?
Cobain.
Kurt Cobain, yeah.
Yeah.
I got in an argument in college. I went to music school, as you might know, with a classmate over who was better, Nirvana or... Because my argument was like, it was kind of good that Kurt Cobain died because we wouldn't have the Foo Fighters. And he was like, oh no, Nirvana was way better.
That's anyone who dies young. You could say the same thing about Jimi Hendrix and like all these other. They didn't have a chance to like peter out,
Yeah.
screw up, release
Right.
a shitty album. Like you go out at that spot, pretty easy.
So you're going on record now saying if Will Smith died right after Fresh Prince, it would have been a different story.
I'm saying if Will Smith dies today, I don't care.
Because he petered out.
What?
Never mind. From Nirvana.
got
I'm talking
one.
about the song Nevermind from Nirvana.
I got one little fight when my wife got scared.
My wife. He was like 17 and that my wife got scared. I believe it's his mom got scared.
It's a joke because he made fun of alopecia. Never mind. Okay.
So
A guy died that played the drums.
the federal tax probe into Hunter Biden, who is the son of President Joe Biden, is moving forward with a grand jury. I don't know what that means. Tax probe. I kind of think all those tax lawsuit things are silly because it's like, oh, we looked through 7,000 transactions that you made, and these 4 you didn't. Blah blah blah.
I think what I do know is that the tax agency, the Federal Tax Bureau of Tax Certificates, that group has the most probes because I get fucked every year.
The IRS.
Yeah.
Get it?
That was a probe joke.
What about like related to that, Trump going into Russia right now saying, hey, release everything that you have?
So,
Is that the next story?
so I'm glad that you brought that up because I actually have a clip that is hilarious.
I hope it's only visual.
It is. Let's see if it actually works. It's on a Twitter.
Out in the tweetiverse.
Let's see if it works.
The twativis.
I'm not getting good service, maybe.
We're gonna get
Because you
good
have
service.
cricket.
Anyway, it was a video of Trump saying that pretty much. He's like, yeah, I don't know. Russia needs to.
No, he didn't
release
say
all
it
the
like
stuff.
that. Say it like he said it.
Listen, I was the best. I was the best president in history, and Russia's my. I can't do it. Jake could do it better.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, he couldn't. He's at home being chained to the water heater being hit. Like, he could not do it better.
in
I
his
want to put a probe. It would be the greatest probe in history. Ask anybody around. They all know this probe. We're going to send it into Russia. Is that what we're talking
anyway,
about?
we'll
What's
just
the guy's name? Russia?
I don't know.
it is Russia, I think. Anyway, we'll just insert the clip or something.
Why insert it
And
when we're
you'll
talking
get it.
about probes?
Oh, yeah, we'll probe. We'll probe it.
Into your ear hole.
Probate.
Yep, exactly.
The fact that even Trump is any sort of news article about what he's doing now is wild.
I think it only is because people honestly think he's going to run for president again.
Oh, no. He's going to run for president again.
Not run, but be like a serious contender.
Just like
I
a
guess.
slow, like
He's
a fast
going to be a
walk.
serious contender.
You think so?
Do you think Jake went home? No, he went to a Trump rally.
with 85 million other friends of his.
Maybe.
But do you think he's
Yeah.
going to run, honestly? Because I think it's going to be like a gentle walk.
Are you doing these on purpose now?
I
you
don't know what
sleep
I don't know
deprived?
what I'm doing right now.
No, but Trump is. Did you hear about this? Trump is suing Hillary Clinton, the DNC, and like 11 other people over the whole Russia.
It's going to be the greatest lawsuit
What is
we've ever
he,
seen.
What is he suing about?
So pretty much that they manufactured that whole story that he was in collusion with Russia or whatever.
Which whole story?
You don't remember, like, I don't know, 5 years ago when every news article ever was like, oh, Russia's colluding with Trump to win the election. Did you forget about
There's
that?
this whole story about Russian strippers peeing on him or something.
Oh, yeah.
like that.
That was actually a big part of it was
I don't believe that the Russian strippers were the only ones saying they like to be peed on.
No, so that was a part of the story. They were insinuating that Trump went to this hotel in Russia and reserved the presidential suite that Obama stayed in so that he could film two prostitutes peeing on each other on the bed that Obama slept on, which doesn't make any sense to me.
It sounds like spring break. Like, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, it turns out it was completely fabricated. The guy that, like, came up with the information made it up or something. So Trump's suing now 7 years later.
Are you implying that the media is lying?
No, they wouldn't.
I'm sorry. What?
Unless they're Fox News. Fox News never
Oh, they're
lies.
lies. Fox News is the only one that lies.
Oh.
I thought you were going to make some joke about being on the ground and just, like, sleeping.
Like a foxhole?
Anyway,
Sorry.
all right. So enough of all that nonsense.
Thank
Boulter
goodness.
is here with us today.
Yes, I
He's
am.
our special guest. I didn't find out, something interesting about Boulter is he has worked at the same hamburger restaurant since he was 16 years old. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
And
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
now 87.
And he's
Yes.
he's 87 now, and
Back when I started, burgers cost a nickel.
they did cost a nickel back then. No, they were like, back then it was like $6-7 for a meal.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
was $5 combo.
Yeah, a
So,
Oh my God.
So a quarter pounder with fry and a large drink was $5.
$5.
After tax.
And how much is it now?
$10.89.
10.80. So it's a double inflation on that one, and half of that double happened in the last year. So
Not quite. We did raise prices 10% in the past 2 years.
Oh, really?
oh yeah,
So we're losing money
yeah, that
by
makes
only
sense.
raising it that much.
Why did you raise prices on it? Is it?
Yeah, so we waited through the pandemic. Like we tried to not raise anything because lots of people were suffering, and we lost money some months.
Yeah.
But I think it was it was just February when we raised prices finally. So
Yeah.
it was a
So you-
combination of like our suppliers where we get all of our food and paper products and everything else from. That's just gone up. Cost of labor obviously has gone up. Like that's probably what's gone up the most, I think, in the U.S. is
Labor?
Is labor specific to like lower skilled labor.
Oh,
like at JCWs. People who are computer programmers making $100,000 a year, they're now making $105,000 a year. So they've only gotten like inflation-based raises versus across. Instead of paying people minimum wage, which I don't know who was before the pandemic anyway.
For real, who pays minimum wage
Yeah.
anymore?
I don't know, maybe on a farm or something. But
Right. If your nephew.
Yeah.
I think they're talking
But-
about changing it in Utah to 15, aren't they?
Okay.
Wasn't
I
the
don't know.
governor saying that?
But yeah, so we used to hire at, about $10 an hour, and now we hire closer to $12 an hour. Just
Just because.
cause. So that's 20% right there.
That's what you got to pay to get people, I imagine. Yeah, I was doing some research, and I found that the average person in our lifetime, how long we've been alive, has had 12 jobs
Oh yeah.
on average. And
Wow.
Boulter has had, he did work some construction in there a little
Yeah.
bit, but
But I was always at least part-time at
But-
JCW.
But you are like a loyal employee of JCW's. You have been there since pretty much the beginning, like about a year after they started the restaurant.
yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think 18 months after they started the restaurant is when I, turned 16 and went and got a job. And I just started there because they were closed on Sundays, and I knew you guys more or less, and a lot of our friend group had worked there.
Yeah, a bunch of us worked there. I worked there,
It's easier to list people that haven't worked there. That's
Yeah.
how many of us have worked there.
which would be who? in our
Who
group.
did not work
Yeah.
there?
Devin did not.
I don't think did.
No.
Beagle, I don't think he worked there.
Beagle.
I think he might have.
Did he?
I don't know.
Maybe. So the standard 3 months that most
everyone
of
else
our
worked.
friends group
Yeah.
lasted.
He was employed there, but he never worked.
But yeah, Jake worked there for like 2 years. And then
Oh, really?
Trent
Worked there for a long time.
Trent worked there for probably 5 years, I think, if I was to guess.
Yeah, that's
on and
right.
off. So
I worked there for a handful of months, but I remember the day I quit. Do you remember this, Phil?
No.
Oh my goodness.
What was this?
Okay, you'll remember when I start telling the story. So, I decided to quit, and like in hindsight, the only reason I just didn't like working, and I didn't like working in the restaurant industry. So,
Yeah.
I called in, and I believe it was one of the owners, Chris or Clay, that answered probably. And I said, hey, so I'm not coming in tonight, and I quit. The reason I did it is because Phil was at my house, and I'm like, I don't even want to go into work. And he's like, just quit then. And I'm like, okay. So Phil basically pressured me into quitting my job. But the funniest part was, like, JCW's was not just a place that we worked. It was actually a place that we hung out, that we went
Absolutely.
to. When it was like a special occasion, we'd go there and get food. And like it was part of our friendship too. So after I quit, I remember I turned to Phil and said, you want to go get a shake at JCW's? To like celebrate.
Now I remember. I think I was working that night, and I'm like, what are you guys doing?
Because that would be a valid thing for us to do, of like
Yeah.
to celebrate me quitting a job by going to JCW's and eating a shake.
I do remember that now because I remember feeling like, is there something wrong with this? And then I was like, I guess there's not. Like, there's nothing that says that you can't go purchase something from a place you just quit 5 minutes
It's
ago.
true.
The customer is always right.
You didn't get your discount anymore.
Now I'm a customer.
Even
so-
though technically you were on, based off of if we followed policy strictly, your name was still on the schedule. And so
Yeah.
somebody would still give you a discount.
I don't think we actually went
employee.
in and got shakes. I think it was just
okay.
a joke, but that was our mentality at that time.
It's weird though, because when you said it, like memories like populated in my mind.
Who
Like,
knows?
oh,
Maybe
yeah,
we did.
This is where I was standing.
I think you did.
Maybe
I
we
think-
did. And it was just a black hole in my memory.
You wouldn't be the first person to do that too. So
Dang it.
or
The
I should
last.
say, not the last one. Maybe you were the first.
That's true.
And you started a trend that has kept going.
Anyway, I actually love JCW's. It was fond memories there.
Well, let me give a quick explanation of what JCW's is.
Yeah.
That's true.
So JCW's stands for John Chris Williams. That's the older brother's initials out of the two brothers, Chris. So he goes by Chris and Clay. Now, Clay will say it stands for John and Clay Williams, but it doesn't.
He's the one that told me then, because that's what I thought it stood
Yeah,
for.
it starts
That's
stands for
not what it
John
says
and
on the deeds.
There's no and in JCW's. So, anyway, so JCW's, and they were brothers that worked at another restaurant called Training Table, which is a local or native to Utah, and they had like 7 locations, but ever since Chris and Clay left, they started going downhill, But anyway, Chris and Clay got permission to, borrow a lot of the menu items, the recipes, and kind of make it their own. And Training Table was a sit-down restaurant where you order from the table from a phone. They were popular for like cheese fries and their sandwiches and things like that.
So if you miss the Training Table's food, you can get a glimpse of that at JCW's.
Yep.
Shout out to CD from the Messing with Mormons podcast. You go get yourself some Training Table now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to
No,
plug
for
that
sure.
out there.
And when we started building restaurants in Salt Lake County, we had tons of people like, "Oh, you guys are just like Training Table. That's great," because they're gone. But yeah, so Training Table has since gone under, and JCW's is now at 5 stores. But yeah, they started the company. They are the original investors, original owners. They're the ones who got in there.
They stuck their necks out there.
Yeah, no,
really
they
far.
went deep into debt and found a old rundown building that used to be a Hardee's in American Fork that had been closed for
Yeah.
a couple of years.
Which Hardee's has converted into Carl's Jr. now. That's why we don't see him on. But if you go to the East Coast, you still see Hardee's.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
It's weird, huh?
So I guess Hardee's is slightly more racist. Is that what it is?
I think they're slightly more unionized. So any union states they couldn't. I don't know. I know when you go to the Carl's Jr. drive-through, they'll show you. It says Hardee's as like one of their, I don't know, businesses that they operate as.
Now, and I mean, you guys, did you go to the Hardee's before?
I did.
Got turned into a JCW.
A couple times, yeah. They had like a ball pit in there, and
Yep.
you could
Dirty,
jump in the balls
ball
and
pit.
play around.
My little brother Danny had a birthday there. I remember.
Yeah.
And my brother was a manager there as well.
You're
Of that Hardee's.
and you said he got fired.
Yeah, he threw a shake at some kids. People used to cruise State Street all the time in that era, and my brother Jason, he was a manager there, and he had asked people that were loitering in the parking lot to leave more than once between the car wash and the building. Right, he asked them to leave a bunch of times, and they didn't. So they filled up cups full of shakes and climbed up on the roof of the building and threw them at these guys. And then the owner or the general manager found out and shake canned him.
So that's kind of similar to one experience that. So there's a couple times when I've gone on the roof, and at our Lehigh location, people would just park there and hang out. So we would close at 11, and people would still be there as we're trying to leave at 1 a.m. At the Lehigh store, we have a hose up there to like clean off different things, and so I may or may not have turned on the hose on their car.
You freaking hoser.
Just to encourage them to leave. But then they get out of their cars and know what's happening. And so they're running around the building trying to find a way to get in. But at that store, like the ladder is on the inside of the building rather than on the outside. So I just waited them out. But
You waited them out.
Mm-hmm. So
You were saying that it started with one location, now it's 5. And you're no longer just the guy flipping burgers. You're now the assistant to the regional manager.
assistant to, yes.
And
For global operations.
Yeah, no, I'm in charge of global operations and maintenance at JCW's.
And you do occasionally flip burgers.
More than occasionally, yes.
Yeah.
I'm back there quite often still flipping burgers because
Because they don't do it right.
No, they don't do it as efficiently as I do. When you have 20 years experience doing something, you get pretty good at it. But, what's different about JCW's is we just have the one fairly large grill, but just one grill. So no matter how busy we are, just that one. Because if you had more grills, you'd be cooking lots of extra stuff and setting it off to the side and on hot plates or, in a warmer. And we don't do that. We don't have any microwaves. We don't have warmers. I should say the only warmer we have is like where we put the fries after we back them up so they can sit there and stay hot. But
yeah.
So you have to be able to make it fresh and get it down to the sandwich for them to wrap it up and put it out for the customer. And so when we're busy, it's pretty rough to be able to do it without there being an over 20 to 30 minute wait. And that's probably the threshold for most people.
It's just the timing of putting the burgers down, flipping them, and cooking them at the right time, so that it's a constant stream rather than a dam breaking of all these burgers.
20 burgers at once, then wait in 8 minutes. 20 burgers at once and wait in 8 minutes, because that's what you can run into, and it becomes problematic. But I've trained several, probably 100 people over the years.
I got to tell you,
to do that.
When I'm cooking burgers at my house, I think of you almost every single time.
Really?
Because I'm thinking I could do better at this, and I should call Boulter and have him tell me how to do this. Because we've talked about this before. I feel like I've flipped the meat too many times.
Yeah. No, ideally you only flip it twice.
I know, but I'm always like minimally 3.
Yeah.
And especially when it's a cheeseburger. If it's a cheeseburger, is it still just twice?
It depends. Yeah, if you can. But it depends on how thick your meat is. There's got to be a better way to say that.
Let me tell you something.
Please describe how thick that
about
meat
about
is when you
a
slap
quarter
it down.
inch per patty.
Okay.
Yep.
We're good.
Quarter inch, that's like this big.
Yeah, I get them at McDonald's. I don't know how big they are. They're not that thick. Anyways, but I just want you to know I think about you.
Well, thank you.
Maybe next time I'll call you and be like,
think about you.
I'll FaceTime you and be like, here's what it looks like, bro. Train me.
Is it done yet? It is more difficult. I still will, because I want burgers to not be overcooked. Like that's my biggest goal is, because at that point, what's the point of making it fresh if it's going to be overcooked?
Right.
So
And then you can't leave it pink, obviously.
yeah.
either,
So
you know.
so every now and then I'll still send out a slightly pink burger because I'm just trying to get it right at that
yeah.
the right amount. But if you perchance ever get a not good burger at JCW's, it's completely our fault and we'll make it again. So don't stress out about that there.
You get your $15 worth.
Can I tell you a story about you've probably had stories like this where you've had to have guests sign waivers. Have you ever had that?
For
the way
JCW?
they want their food prepared?
No.
Oh, okay. So I worked at a small restaurant, and I just thought this was normal. Maybe I'm wrong. But we had a guy literally, it was a breakfast and lunch kind of place.
Okay.
We had hamburgers. They were nothing like JCW's, I promise you. But this guy would come in for breakfast, and he'd want 2 hamburger patties, eggs, and toast. That was he liked that for his breakfast. But the way he'd want us to cook the burgers were ridiculous.
Like raw?
Basically. So it was like, you know how you have a steak, which is obviously very different than a ground up burger, and you sear it, and then that's basically it.
Yeah.
Like the middle's warm, but it's very pink, very red in the middle. It's a rare cook. That's basically what he wanted us to do with the burger. We put it on a high heat flat grill. We'd put it down, and for maybe 30 seconds.
Get it to where it's bleeding, and that's
Then
it.
flip it over 30 seconds, and we'd serve it to him. You'd open it up, and it wouldn't just be pink. It would be red and blood. Or it's not really blood, but the red stuff. What do they call that?
Yeah, no, it's
Pink
Is it blood?
slime.
It's blood.
It's blood?
Yeah, it could be pink slime if it's
It's
McDonald's.
Soylent Green.
Soylent
Is that what
Green.
they call it? But
No,
anyways, we had to have him sign a waiver because we're like, dude, this is not good. This is unhealthy,
Yeah.
and
If you have
might get
have
sick.
it posted on your menu that the consumption of undercooked food can lead to whatever it is,
Oh, that's it.
then you're legally covered.
Oh, well,
That's why
That.
I think once sushi places became a thing and everybody's eating raw food in some capacity, then
So,
everybody
like, you're
just kind
talking
of
like
understand.
3,000 years BC when sushi became a thing.
Not in Western
I'm just
culture.
kidding. I know
I
what
really.
you're- I know what
When do
you're
you think
saying.
sushi? Anyway, I mean that's a big tangent, but sushi's everywhere right now.
Oh,
but like in the
2000s.
in the 60s, was there a sushi place?
Well, not Utah.
I think it was around then, wasn't it? 50s or 60s in Japan that they even started doing it? Or it might have been post-war.
Well,
Are you kidding me right
they've
now?
done sushi before, but it's when it hit Western culture.
No,
is my
sushi's
question.
old.
No, I
thing.
think in Japan,
I know that
sushi
you
is not
think that.
old. I could be wrong,
You also think a quarter inch is like this.
but I almost want to say it had something to do with the war, and they were like trying to preserve food. I could be wrong, but
You are wrong.
you might be conflating them with like Japanese katanas or something. They're not.
When did they start cutting sushi with katanas?
Yeah.
It's like that game. Like this. Anyways, doesn't matter. So burgers, sometimes they're pink. I actually like my burgers a teeny bit pink. Like if it's actually good, fresh, hamburger, I like it. If it's like a frozen patty I get from Costco, I tend to try and cook it all the way through.
How old is sushi?
Phil, can't give it up. We're talking about burger places here, Phil.
Earliest known origin is the 2nd century BC.
Oh yeah, see, I was way off.
1953, in other words.
Yeah,
is what it's
yeah.
saying.
But that's in metric system, so
So when you do the math,
isn't time different in the metric system as opposed
and
to
you
the
have
American?
you have to first convert it to Kelvin and then back to the Eastern 12 years per inch.
Maybe it was.
in
maybe-
Mountain Standard Time.
Maybe that was just when it became like a popular street food over there or something like that. I
Probably.
can't remember.
Yeah, I'm sure it was like the delicacy to have. Anyway,
Some sushi.
There's something about the radiation that we left there that really makes the street vendors sushi a lot better.
Oh,
it adds to the experience.
the atomic bombs.
Yeah, I was in the
Yeah, not only is it raw, but it is radiated as well.
It is
So
radiating.
It's got carcinogenics in it.
See, I'm glad I wasn't recording. Inside joke.
Sorry.
But anyway, you in the meantime, while you've been flipping burgers, you have a family.
Correct.
You've got
At least one.
a wife and some kids, and you also have a degree in. Now I know the answer to this because
History.
it's in history.
It's in physics.
Physics.
Historical physics.
It's in art art physics.
It's in gravity studies.
I am in gravity studies at working at JCW's.
On a drop of onion? What?
No, how big people get.
Oh, that just got sad
Can
so
you
fast.
steer a car with your belly? Absolutely, you can.
Have you heard of that restaurant in Vegas where they have a scale out front, and if you're over 500 pounds, you eat for free?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is
It's called
that-
the Heart Attack Grill.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
my
Oh, I've
goodness.
heard about that. And didn't the guy that started that, he's like a doctor, right?
He's
a
a
cardiologist. And all over the wall, it's like, this is what this burger is doing to your heart and all this stuff. Like, and the menu is like pulmonary disease.
So he's trying to save people.
The people
Yeah.
that work
Even
there,
though if someone is 480 pounds, they're like, I can do this. I can get to 20 more pounds.
Yeah.
from my understanding, the people that work there actually have like nurses, scrubs, and it's like a hospital. But
So it's like a come to Jesus meeting.
no,
for-
think about it. It's genius because have you ever talked to a foreigner about like what they think about Americans? One of the biggest things that comes up is like people are huge there.
Yeah.
They're big. So you go to Vegas and you're from, Japan or Taiwan or whatever.
Or Borneo.
That sounds made up. But if you come to America, why not? You got some entertainment. You got the 500 pounders all going to this place. You can go get yourself a burger there. And it's like going to SeaWorld and seeing Shamu.
I was in the Philippines, and people would always kind of complain.
Sounds made up.
Yeah, people would always, Boulter can vouch for this, that people would always kind of complain, like, oh, you're an American, you're so rich, life is so easy over there, blah, blah, blah. But I was in this situation where people were watching TV, and it was like my 500-pound life or whatever. And to see these people who had a dirt floor and almost no food, and they were watching this thing, and it wasn't like a shake their head like, oh, those Americans are gluttonous. You could see that these people felt bad for these Americans that were like waddling over to their bed. It was like such an eye-opening
my
thing. Like
gosh.
they really were like,
This is what
Starving to
America
death.
is.
yeah, there was like they felt bad for those people. I thought it was so interesting. Like
Yeah.
like we look at it, we're like, oh, ah, ha, ha, ha.
Yeah, Phil and I both served in the same mission in the
Yeah.
Philippines, and yeah, we have a lot of shared experiences for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the two things that they would say is, yeah, everyone's fat and everyone's just super wealthy.
Yep.
Everyone has $1 million, and every time I'm like, well, no, not everybody's that wealthy. And they're like, okay, well, you have robots that do everything for you. I'm like, what are you talking about? We don't have robots. Oh,
Yeah.
well, you have a robot that does your dishes. You have a robot that does your laundry.
Yep.
You have a robot that cleans your floors.
That's so weird that they call wives robots.
yeah.
That seems, if you didn't know that about the culture of Philippines, that's what they call wives.
Yeah. But no, it was interesting. Like, but yeah, I do feel really bad for those people. Like, because that's a rough place. It's almost like being like a really bad drug addict. Like you're just been like shooting stuff in your veins for years. Now you got to reverse that.
You're saying the Philippine people are like that, or the fat people?
The fat people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely turns into a mental condition more than a physical one
Yeah.
at some point.
Because I wouldn't want. I'd be like, oh, if I went on an extreme diet for a month, I'd lose what, like 80 pounds, which is like 5% of what I need to lose.
Or
Like,
two Filipino people.
I just keep eating whole buckets of ice cream like I do now anyway. So
Yeah, you're just lucky to be able to,
my genes just do it, I guess.
as you have your hands down your jeans.
Yep.
Go jeans. Go jeans. It is amazing because I always feel like, and this isn't like some self-abasement, interiorization of my own thoughts and processes, but I've always been a big guy. But I am not nearly as big as many people out there.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't mean like those few people across the country. Like I come across people that are super, super big compared to me.
Yeah.
And so I think Jim Gaffigan said, anytime I'm feeling bad, I just go to Walmart, and just kind of look at what's going on. I guess I could go to JCW's
Yeah, no,
too.
we can all do better. And
Does JCW's really attract a lot of very heavy people?
I don't know comparatively to other places, but
I mean, the promotional...
because we have a drive-through. The thing is, like, people who are really overweight are probably using a drive-through rather than walking in and sitting down in a restaurant.
Yeah.
So, or The big thing now is DoorDash. Like, so if somebody is really overweight and they're embarrassed about it, you can avoid seeing humans altogether and just
drop it on the front porch.
yeah.
I never thought about that, but that's probably like the worst thing that's ever happened to really obese people.
Yeah,
Because
to be able
before,
to
where
have
they
it
at
delivered.
least had to like walk to the car and drive somewhere to feed themselves.
Right.
Now it's just like, just keep me in bed. I'll just open my bedroom window. Just bring it around the back and hand it to me.
Yeah.
I can't stop my Call of Duty game.
Yeah. But DoorDash, anyway.
So you guys are hooked up with DoorDash.
Yeah, so we do, well, so for a while, obviously in the middle of the pandemic, we were doing everything. We were doing DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub,
Anything to get the food out of there.
Postmates, and so on. Right now, we're down to just DoorDash and Grubhub because they were the only ones that were able to do it consistently in Utah. Different places have different whatever structures, and then we also have our own online ordering system, or people call ahead, or so.
Do you have your own delivery?
We don't deliver, but like if you wanted to say, order the food and come pick it up and have
Right.
it already, that's how we have that set up.
Yeah, I've
So-
done that before.
But with DoorDash and Grubhub, like they charge an extra 30%.
To you guys.
Yeah, so we pass that on to the customer because,
Oh, yeah.
if you want it delivered, then you're going to pay 30% more for the exact same thing. So, but it's
30%.
Plus
gonna get
delivery.
crazy.
Plus a tip.
Well, so the delivery is included.
Oh, in
unless
that.
I guess they've started doing like a gas surcharge right
Yeah,
now
for
But yeah,
drivers.
but then you're also expected to give a tip on top of it.
Well, because when I'll order DoorDash, some of them say free delivery, which I
Okay.
assume is baked in, and some of them have like a $2 delivery charge.
Depending
or
on
whatever.
where it's going to.
Yeah.
They probably have some algorithm that determines, okay, if you want to get food from someplace that's 2 miles away, then no delivery fee versus outside of that 2 mile range.
Have you ever had DoorDash orders just walk off? Like, I was thinking about that the other day. People could just walk in, grab a
Yeah.
couple bags. And,
So the way we set it up, because other places they just have shelves set up,
Yeah.
and you just go and find the name and
Right.
get it. Which during the time of COVID, if you were worried about it, that means everybody is coming in and rummaging through everything and grabbing it.
Yeah,
So
that's
getting
weird.
DoorDash means for a lot of places, if it's on a shelf, there's at least 3 different people that have touched your food before you get it.
yeah.
But with us, we have a specific counter, and we pay one person to just be in charge of all of it and making sure, because we face the bags away from the DoorDashers,
so they have to come say the
so they have
name.
to come and look at, ask, hey, what's the name, so that they can't
Gotcha.
rummage through stuff. And but because most of them don't speak English, and,
Are you serious? DoorDash drivers?
Correct. There's still some communication gap half the time. So I should say it's probably half English speakers. Then out of the other half, at least the half of them are Latino or Hispanics, and then out of that, you can have whatever. You could have Ukrainian, or you could have
Why'd you have to bring that up?
because they need work.
I think they got plenty of work.
Yeah, they're in the military.
Oh, the 3 million refugees that are in Europe have plenty of work.
Oh, that's right.
Incorrect.
All those people. I forget about those people for some reason.
Yeah, we usually do.
Yeah.
But so DoorDash it's okay.
Did it help though? I mean, to keep you guys
during
busier?
pandemic, it helped our our one slow store, I should say, is our Provo location,
Which is so
and it helped
weird
that
to
one.
me.
Well, it's a college town, and
That's
so
true.
because
Too poor.
when it's a college town, people eat at Taco Bell and McDonald's, and apparently In-N-Out, and that's it. And then they go to JCW's, and we cost $2 more per person at least.
Yeah, they just pull up to Taco Bell, pull out, and die.
apparently.
Sorry, call back.
It's a little bit of a strange location, the Provo one.
Yeah,
Because like that whole like Movies 8 and all that is like a
It's
ghost
gone.
town
Well, it's
now.
gone.
Yeah.
It's all ripped out actually now.
Yeah.
They're building
townhomes.
400 units.
Are you
gonna
serious?
go
Oh, wow.
Right next
That'll
to
help
us.
business,
Yeah, so
probably.
we'll be good by next year.
Yeah.
So all the Californians will move in and
Yeah.
be like, "Look at that cheap burger place down there."
Yeah,
that's
comparatively.
like $15
Like, man,
pop.
we're
Get a
living it
burger
now.
for under $20. It's amazing.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
good.
No, but prices have gone up quite a bit of late. So shakes are probably the main area where our prices have gone up. It used to be. So our burgers we've tried to keep, pretty relatively priced, and I think we're still good. We're cheaper than places like Five Guys, but our shakes, they've gotten expensive. I don't buy shakes anymore.
Let me tell you what, though. When you say we've kept it with Five Guys, in my opinion, and this is not because I worked there or because you're sitting in front of me, JCW's is way better than Five Guys. Food-wise, I love it. I love JCW's. Anytime I can go through that when I'm going down and through Utah County, specifically for some reason. It's probably because I love the old Hardee's location so much
Yeah.
and where I used to work. I'll always try and stop.
Oh, there's
in there.
definitely nostalgia with it because you brought up that it used to be a hangout.
Oh yeah.
And it still is. So JCW's and American Fork and Lehigh are the go-to place for the local high schools.
Oh my gosh.
After football games and basketball games,
Right.
any sporting event, the entire school crowds into JCW's.
And you pull out the 16 extra shake makers and
Yeah, we get slammed, but for how busy, like every single table will be full. But like only there's one kid gets a cone per table.
Yeah,
and so,
I know.
You compare like our normal rush on a Friday night between 7 and 8. We're taking care of probably 500 people in that hour.
When you guys
A lot.
remodeled that American Fork store, it kind of bummed me out because there was one table from the old Hardee's setup that was an extra long booth that I loved because we could fit like 10 of us
Yeah, that's true.
on that booth. And so anytime it was open, we'd go sit back there. Do you remember the booth I'm talking about?
No.
Anyways,
I thought it was tables that we pushed together.
no.
Yeah,
well,
eventually.
eventually, right. But anyways, I just love that
Yeah.
booth. I would
Yeah.
have it as my dining room table if it was still available.
No, I remember that booth with the teal and white decor and the fake plants
The
all
fake
around.
plants. I remember one time Trent pulled one of those plants out of the ground, the fake plant, and
Yeah.
put it on his head, and he looked like a carrot because Trent's a ginger for the listener, but he put the fake plant on top of his head, and he looked like a fruit of some kind. It was the funniest thing because he had an afro at the time. Anyway, I just love it.
Yeah, but
Good times.
it's gotten way crazier since we went to high school. Like the kids will come in and I don't know.
Graffiti on the wall.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just kidding.
no, they'll tear down because we have like decorative stuff on the wall that we like picked up from Deseret Industries. That's just like all the local
Right.
stuff, and they'll just rip stuff off the wall and take
Oh
it
my
home.
gosh.
It's a challenge to steal the number stands. They'll
I can see that.
yeah,
actually.
it's
Those are
there's a
pretty
lot of
cool.
truth or dare going on. So there's a lot of make out sessions going on right in the middle
Really?
of everybody. Food fights I've run into during that time.
It's like a freaking high school
Yeah, so we've
lunchroom.
yeah, even worse so because there's no teachers or principals or anything to. So like I'll have to be out there taking care of it, and let's see, 3 times in the past year I've had to call out the police. So it's been
Whoa.
interesting.
Wow.
So we lose money every time it happens, but it's an investment in the future because, like you said, in 10 years from now, they're going to remember the awesome times they had at JCW's, and you remember that time they called the cops on us?
Yeah, you're instilling that in. You're not ratting them out. You're instilling that. That's promotion to the future.
So, but then, in the future, they're going to bring themselves, their wives, and their 3 kids, and
That's right.
spend $84 to eat.
That's what I was gonna.
We'll get all the shakes and everything.
That's what I was just gonna say. They come in. Hey, you remember when you called the cops on me? You're like, yeah, that'll be $84.
Yep, here you go. You're paying for it now. But,
Oh, you want extra fry sauce? That's 75 cents.
yeah.
Here's a question, and this is more due to you working there for such a long time. Is that do you run into a lot of people from like blasts from the past? Like,
Oh yeah. Well, see, here's the rough thing for me. I recognize people all the time, and I don't know if it's just from them being a customer or if we went to school together. Maybe they worked for me. I don't remember them.
yeah,
But like I'll recognize people's faces all the time, and then I just and I try to approach like, hey, I recognize you. Do you remember where we know each other from? So because I suck at names most of the time,
Yeah.
but I remember better what people order on the regular than I can their names.
I wish I was a regular now.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm
Like,
too far away.
There are quite a few. We call them RCs, regular customers. We do know by name.
Yeah.
But also they're the ones who end up ordering like the same thing every time too. There's one guy he's a doctor. He ended up becoming my pediatrician, but he was one of the most loyal customers to JCW's. At first, he would come in 4 or 5 times a week
Oh wow.
and always get an all-American combo with no onions.
Yeah.
I think I know. He worked there when I would have worked there.
Dr. Weipert?
I don't know, but
Probably-
I
no, for
remember
sure.
a guy coming in like 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah.
I don't know
and-
how you just glazed over this. So you're saying you got a time machine, you went back in time, and he became your pediatrician?
Well, I knew him from when I was 16 years old, and then once I had kids. So
they're
my kids' pediatrician.
Oh, that makes more sense. Okay, I thought there was a time machine. And
no, he
never
didn't
mind.
become
Sorry.
my. I mean, I would have
he's
if I
paying-
could have. If I could have, I would have had him as my pediatrician.
I mean, he's
but-
paying the bill, so it's his.
Yeah, no, and what we used to, I mean, we have a loyalty program now where you keep track of it online.
Oh,
but
that's
we used
cool.
to have physical like punch cards.
Yeah.
So for every 10th time you come in, you get a meal for free. And he would write on the back which one he was on. So he was keeping track of how many times he had ordered 10 meals.
How many punch cards?
He was on to 221.
Oh my gosh.
By the time we switched over to the
Is he the
bought-
founder of the Heart Attack Grill in Vegas?
Yeah, no, but he was a tall, skinny dude still somehow.
That's cool.
So and a doctor, so he knew what he was doing. So
basically, you're saying doctors recommend.
yeah,
3 to
doctor
4
recommended.
Times, 3 to 4 times.
You
a week.
will be a doctor and skinny if you eat at JCW's.
3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah,
You heard
no.
it here first. Mm-hmm. American Fire
Here
Podcast.
on American Fork, which was the location of the founding of JCW's, which Boulter is now the king of. Well, thanks for coming on, Boulter. We've loved having you here, and we'll have to have you on again one day when you are not working at JCW's.
Oh, so in 24 years.
24 years.
Okay.
In 3 months.
So we talked all this food with Boulter here, who's here with us now, and I'm going to bring up my segment. Phil learns to cook again. You remember that from before?
Did you guys acknowledge in the story how JCW's didn't invent anything besides putting a drive-through window on a training table?
He did say that, right, Boulter? I did say.
So all that they did was fancy it up and not get in a fight with their people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently,
Which I think they would acknowledge. I don't think that.
he said they do. They even had permission, I guess, to go and pretty much copy it and do it. So.
But what permission do you need?
Yeah, I don't know.
You didn't call it training table. They waited until I think 5 years after they opened their store to even introduce the ultimate dipping sauce.
Oh.
Because I remember I was there the day that they brought it out, and they're like, "Oh, training table had this. We've just been like kind of waiting. So this is gonna be great. Try it." And I tried it. I was like, "This is trash." I'd never been a training table. I love it now, but
Isn't the ultimate sauce? It's barbecue sauce. and-
hickory sauce,
Yeah.
and mayo.
Yeah, I wasn't a.
But the
big
big
fan.
key is most people mix it up. The big key is not mix it up. It tastes better when you don't mix it up.
Oh, okay. Well,
You nerding out.
Well, anyway, on Phil Learns to Cook, so I've been having problems with chicken breast. I like chicken breast, but like only 10% of the time do I nail it. And the rest, it's like, oh, this is too chewy, it's too dry, or something. And I've realized the secret to chicken breast is to never use it and only use chicken thighs.
Chicken thighs are amazing.
Thanks.
Why can't you cook a chicken breast correctly?
How do you cook your chicken? I'll tell you how I cook my chicken
Yeah,
breast,
tell
and
me.
I actually do a really good job at it.
Yeah.
I started experimenting with this because I started cooking steak this way, and hear me out. What I would do is I'd put it on like a 3/4 heat, and I would put it on a cast iron skillet and oil and seasoning and all that stuff, and I'd cook it to where it looks like it's done. It's clearly not going to be done in the middle,
Right.
But it looks like it's done. It's got some char, it's got some, right? And then I will have my oven preheated at 350, and I will throw it in the oven for 20 minutes or so. I think I usually flip it in between. But basically what that does is it cooks the outside on the stove and then seals in the juices too. Then when I throw it in the oven, it continues cooking through and gets that internal temperature you need, which
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. Just
I do the exact opposite.
Really?
I cook it,
Which
but
I could see.
but I cook it like in the oven. But I cook it so it's like swimming in juices. So it's very juicy, and then I'll throw it on the grill to like
Char
sear
it
in
up.
that.
See, I do it the other way because, I don't know if I'm right or not, but I have this idea that if you cook it on the outside, it's going to seal the juices in because it like chars it and seals it. But if anyway, it's basically the same concept. You cook it through, and then anyway. The other thing that I do too, and it depends on the chicken breast, a lot of times you get chicken breasts and they'll be like 2-3 inches thick.
Yeah.
Like there's some fatties out there. I've never seen chickens with boobs like that, but there they are. I'll actually cut them in half, like what would
Like
that
a fillet.
them open?
I'd fillet them. I wouldn't even just open them. I'd make 2 separate pieces.
Yeah.
You know what you should
cook
do,
'em that
Phil?
way.
Go to JCW's, buy a box of their frozen chicken, and you just basically heat it up. It's pre-cooked.
Yeah.
It's juicy as hell.
There you go.
Is it really?
Yes.
Oh.
No, but like I said, sometimes I nail chicken breast. And
10%.
one of the ways I've done it is I'll put it on the top rack of the barbecue, like over to the right, and only the burners on the left are on. And I'll put a little like pellets in there in a pan, so I'll smoke it for like an hour. Turns out pretty good. But even then, like, and I'm not a thermometer guy. I think that's the big thing. Like, you got to stop right when that thing hits whatever. I've just noticed that chicken thighs, I think they taste better. They're way more forgiving. You can go 10 minutes over or under whatever you were trying to do. And
I love thighs. My wife does not like chicken thighs.
I'm also into thighs. I'm like a leg and ass guy.
Leg and ass?
Yeah. Oh, we're still talking about chicken.
And the
Yeah.
and the legs. I do like the legs.
I love it when a girl's like really, really big on top and then these little tiny chicken legs. And you're like, how does she even stand up? What are we talking about now?
Didn't you talk about too much
Chickens.
editing?
Oh, yeah. I'll just keep that one in. I'm too lazy to edit that one out.
So anyway, did we fix America today?
Hell no.
No?
But we did fix chicken.
That's good. I like that one.
Thanks, Boulter.
Bye.
Goodbye. Ding. Cue the Will Smith rap. I own the Oscars. Now this is the story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down. I know what you were thinking, that I might be a monster, but let me tell you how I became king of the Oscars. West Philadelphia, born and raised in a Catholic school, I spent most of my days. Now I am a movie star, you might have heard of Men in Black, and I am legend, and a little one called Independence Day. Oh, I'm at the Oscars, where I'm trying to be king. As long as I can stand them making fun of me. I got in one little fight when my wife was scared. She said, you gonna let the man make fun of my hair?
She's got alopecia, it's a really bad disease. She ain't got no hair now, she's a big celebrity.
The rest of this song is available to all Patreon subscribers at patreon.com/AmericanForked.